To go out and get started with the booze. John squeezed Nate's shoulder. I'm sorry about all this, by the way. Matt and I both feel terrible about...
It's not your fault. I've been getting suspicious for a while anyway. When you guys told me you noticed something was weird, it just confirmed what I already kinda knew.
Still, John let his hand drop. I think we were all hoping for a better ending to this.
Yeah, well, it is what it is. Now I just want to put it all behind me and move the fuck on.
Well, you could...
John hesitated. What?
John glanced at him, then exhaled. Look, I think we both know how I would cope in your shoes.
Go screw anyone who'd let you?
Pretty much. Nate managed to laugh, but only for a second. Shaking his head, he slid his hands into his jacket pockets, fending off some late March briskness, and stared straight ahead.
I know that's exactly what you would do.
And you're not wired for it.
Nope. Not even now.
Nate scowled.
In fact, I'm pretty sure my libido is as dead as my marriage.
John whistled. That bad?
Yup. Hell, just thinking about sex makes me nauseous.
It was having that effect now. His stomach roiled at the mere thought of looking at another man, let alone touching one.
I think I'd rather go drink myself stupid.
I can definitely help you with that part.
Matt doesn't mind?
Nope. He knows what's going on today. Nate was surprised when John didn't add that Matt would join them. Sometimes he did, if he wasn't tied up at the tattoo shop until all hours of the night, and usually he was a welcome addition. Nate liked Matt. He would have, even if Matt weren't John's boyfriend. Today, though, he didn't need to be around a disgustingly happy couple. He was thrilled for them, and still amazed that John had ever settled down with anyone, and he hoped their relationship continued to be amazing. If only for one day, though, he didn't want to see it. They got into John's car, and as John started the engine, Nate questioned the wisdom of going out and getting shit-faced right now. He liked to drink and have a good time, but drinking while he was upset wasn't as fun. Chances were he'd wind up so depressed he couldn't move unless it was to throw up. But right about then, that sounded a hell of a lot more appealing than staying sober enough to remember he'd ever been married to Caleb at all. John didn't ask where to go. He was probably taking them to O'Leary's, their usual watering hole in Virginia Beach. They'd pass 100 bars between here and there, and it would be a good half-hour before he was finally drinking, but at least they'd be close to home when they were done. Never hurt to keep the cab fare to a minimum, especially since Nate had earmarked some money for a few things, and not just his eye-wateringly expensive divorce.
By the way, he said, once I've sobered up, I need to look into getting this fucking thing lasered off.
He tapped his upper arm. He'd worn a dress shirt today, so he couldn't roll up the sleeve, but John would know what tattoo he was talking about. Sighing, Nate stared out the window.
Ugh, should have listened to you when you told us not to get matching ink.
John didn't respond right away. You know, his thumbs thumped on the wheel. That kid at Matt's shop is supposed to be a prodigy at cover-ups. I'll bet he could help you out.
The apprentice?
John nodded.
I don't know.
Trust me. He's an apprentice, but he's better than some of the artists who've been at it for years, especially for cover-ups. John glanced at him from the driver's seat. I've seen some of his work. Even Matt's blown away by it.
Well, that was impressive enough.
Matt was an incredibly talented artist. If this apprentice's work could turn his head, then it must be good. Nate chewed on the idea.
Okay, I guess it's worth a shot.
Want to head up there? Or you still want to go get a drink?
I just had to watch my ex-husband stroll off with his arm around the guy he fucked in our bed. We're going to go get several drinks.
After work, a couple of days later, John and Nate changed out of their flight suits and into civvies, and Nate followed him over to Skin Deep Ink. It wasn't like he didn't know where the place was, but John's boyfriend worked here, so he was on his way anyhow. As they walked in through the glass front door, Nate had a pang of nostalgia, remembering the night he and the rest of the squad